Well, we're back at painting, and this time I'm hoping we can clear up a few facts for you, especially about composition and what brushes to use when we start a painting. I have two kinds of brushes that I like to use. They are called the hog, and they're white and they're stiff. They hold lots of paint, and they distribute the paint well and give you good brush strokes. Then we have the soft-headed brushes. They're soft. They're very kind of like silk or mink. They're usually red sable, or many of them are synthetic now. They're used for blending and softening the edges if you don't want them too hard. And we don't like hard edges, so we use them for that. When we start a painting, we do what's called a wash-in. The wash-in is done so that we can lay it out. I'm going to use something that we're all familiar with, and that's a photograph. This happens to be a photograph of a painting. And I'm doing that because it helps you to see how paintings are and how we put them together. I'm going to grab a little bit of turpentine on my palette, and because most of it has blue in it, I'm going to take French ultramarine blue and dilute it. Then I'm going to find my line, my horizon line. I'm doing this more landscape style than portrait style. That's my horizon line. And it really, if you have water, it's really important that at the very end of it, you give yourself at least a straight line. Because water does not, it does not do this.
You do something, the one-third thing?
So that gives you a feeling that the ocean is kind of sinking or going somewhere. Always keep a rag of some kind handy. If not a rag, at least a towel. And then wipe it off and go back. But make sure that from the same distance, my line is there. That'll just be the first line. Now I'm going to take a little more turpentine and linseed oil, or turpentine and French ultramarine blue, and give myself my ocean line, or my beach and my water. At this point, if you've got everything kind of lined up, and you know where you're going, I'm going to put I don't want my subject matter, which is the boat, to be dead center. So I'm going to put him over here. Hers is a little bit to the left. That's probably where I'm going to place him. I'm not particularly interested in doing him exactly like that because he's going to be gone when I put the sky in. Grab your white, your French ultramarine blue, and just a tiny bit of Viridian. And it'll make a beautiful sky color for you. Try not to do this. You're not painting a wall. Walls are rather uninteresting anyway, so you don't want to go there.
That's why I make this round movement.
You make circular motions, or you make X's, and you can see how the green is affecting actually affecting the sky, and you can see how the brush strokes are affecting the sky. Actually, it makes it more interesting. You yourself determine which is more interesting, this or this.
Yeah.
So now you determine yourself how you want to approach. Brush strokes are something you develop as you go along. You learn how to handle your brush, but you've got to have some help with it at the very beginning, because it's pretty hard to know what to do when you don't know what to do at all. I am mixing color, as you can see, as I push it on. I don't mix it on the palette till it's one solid color, because it's uninteresting that way, and it doesn't help me make my painting. And as you start painting, you'll understand that more clearly. Painting is really an opportunity to express yourself, and you don't want to You don't want to be that. You want to be this. I'm just going to put some clouds in. And what I'm trying to do is not create anything specific at this point.
It's like a draft first, right?
Mm-hmm. I'm going to make my dark line a little bit darker and maybe bring it up a little bit higher because it just feels that way. I ran out of green, white. There we go. We're just getting started, so we just kind of play around. I'm going to grab my ochre and come down here. And I'm going to pull it over into the water. Because as the water gets soft, it'll help me get a little more dimension going. I've added 3 or 4 different colors in this as I've gone along because it's more interesting than black color. That's something you'll discover for yourself, and you'll have to decide for yourself. No one can tell you what you like, but you'll find it real fast. We can show you how to create texture, but we can't tell you what you're going to like. If you get little things like this, or little things like that when you're adding a color, and you think, well, that doesn't look too good, and take it out. Don't, leave it. You might find it one of your best, interesting problems that you've got. I'm going to grab a little tiny bit of purple.
Which you mix with which color?
Which I mix with alizarin crimson and French ultramarine blue. And I'm going to take it right here because this is yellow and purple is yellow's complement. And I want to darken in here. My purple is quite to the red side, which I'd rather have it because if it were to the blue side, it would turn green. We don't want that. See, there it's more to the blue side. And it's got more of a greenish look. This is actually shadow from a tree that's on over here. But it gives a lot of interest to the beach. And if you don't like it when you get going, you can always, the nice thing about oil painting is that you can change it just as quickly as you put it in. There, see? All gone in that area. Maybe I decided that it needs to be less noticeable, more soft. So you can make your own ideas. You can also use it for seaweed. Seaweed often comes up on the but seaweed has more of a red look to it, so let's put some burnt sienna in there. And what if someone were walking across the beach? And we just added a little light around it. Because if the sand is pushed up, it becomes lighter around the edges. And maybe softer inside. Give you some ideas of what you can do with a beach. That footprint is in the wrong spot. But that's something that a lot of the kids like to do when they make a beach. This is the blending brush. And you can see how it's different from the other brush in that it blends into the paint below it and becomes part of it rather than separate of it. I think that'll be fine for today.
And what about the sailing board? Would you go and take the sailing board in now too, or you wait till the oil is dry?
I'm going to let my painting dry to a certain degree, and then we're going to go in and put the sailboat in and put other colors in. For instance, right here, we may want to put a little more green. But it would be better if we glazed it in. And then too, if you look real closely, if I put some of the sand in
beach
the
color.
beach, it pulls it together, and the beach then becomes a part of the ocean. But we need to give it some time. It's a little more green. And here is the back. I'm going to correct my drawing this way. Grab your maul stick and stick it up there and see if your line is as straight as you want it to be. It seems to be, then we're okay. If not, leave your stick there and do this. And then you know your line is straight. Just don't get yourself caught with part of it up here and part of it down there. Because then it looks, even if it's only 1/8 of an inch off, it looks terrible. I don't have any white. I'm going to grab one right there. We're going to stick our sailboat in over here. And put it down in the water. Let it kind of float with you. The way I pull my brush is the way the strokes will look. If I were to pull this way, the water will go in that direction. If I were to do this, it would look bad in the water, but that looks great for a reflection because then we can do this. Now we're going to have to put some dark colors here. See, all you have to do is change the direction of your brush, and it will help you. And what if we need a little more white here? Here, we got our boat started. It's a lot different from this one, but I've never been able to paint the same thing twice exactly. I don't think anybody does. It's just part of. We're going to put a little red flag on it. Why not? Just because we can. And next week we'll finish it up. Get it a little darker right here. And I have a surprise for you next week. I just like to paint. I think that's the whole part of it. Just enjoy painting.
Okay.
And I'll see you next week.
Thank you very much.
What happened is I ran out.